all those American photos for our national anthem. We just love having them. So keep sending them in, and we'll keep putting them up for you. It's going to be a great, very news-filled morning here with Charlie. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Joey.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Really good. We were up late trying to follow the news.
Yeah.
But we're bringing it all to you this morning.
That's right.
Yeah, it was a busy day for the peacemakers.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of that, overnight, Ukrainian President...
Okay, so I love in this interview that immediately President Trump starts talking about the elephant in the room, which is China.
Yeah.
The real enemy of America in this situation, and the irony that this war has brought these two together. But before we dissect the China part, which I think is eminently important, let's talk about the fact that this interview with Sean Hannity, our own Sean Hannity, happened minutes after this
in the
meeting.
Same room.
In the same room.
Same spot.
Think about the...
Upset about this peace effort, I think, are arguing that somehow Donald Trump is getting played. I don't think Donald Trump is getting played by that. Obviously, two things can be true. Putin can say the thing that Donald Trump has said 1,000,000 times, invented, but it doesn't mean that Donald Trump isn't still negotiating on behalf of the United States of America and on behalf of peace. And it also doesn't mean that they're not both right about it, that Joe Biden's mishandling of the whole situation allowed this to happen.
Absolutely, that's true. I mean, so what are they mad about? They're mad that Putin's telling the truth. What we all saw was so obvious, that the situation in Afghanistan and the fact that Kamala Harris basically offered entry into NATO to Zelensky. All of those things together, all done by the Joe Biden's administration, help precipitate this war.
Well, apparently they're not all mad. Not all Democrats are just ringing the bell that Trump has failed. Going into this, Hillary Clinton gave an interview, and she said something that even surprised President Trump. Take a listen.
So, by the way, when this negotiation was over, this talk with President Trump and Putin, the Kremlin chief said agreements have been reached, and then also there's going to be land swaps. Russia may need, we may get more land than they had before. That's what President Trump said. So it's a little bit of a trap there with Hillary saying,
exactly.
If there's some sort of land, giving up on the part of Ukraine over to Russia, which seems like an obvious thing that's going to happen, then therefore that means he's capitulating. No, that means he's making a deal. The Nobel Prize thing, you guys, I mean, I sent a video to our producers this morning. I was really touched by something I saw on the internet this week, which was these Cambodian monks, holding Donald Trump signs and chanting and praising him and saying he deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for what he did between Thailand and Cambodia. Anyone who loves peace, like these peaceful Cambodian monks, wants that to happen to him. Hillary Clinton, she kind of loved this war, and she's setting it up so that if the peacemakers achieve it, it's going to look like a failure in her eyes.
Yes, Secretary Reset. And you remember how well that worked out. Meanwhile, you have Democrats across the country who are free, as the president is trying to actually achieve world peace and end a war. You have Democrats freaking out across the country over the efforts in Texas to redistrict. You've got President Obama weighing in, talking about how brave and courageous the Democrats who fled. Yeah, the only thing they care about is power. And the fact that you have Texas Republicans willing to do what Democrats have done across the country, Democrats are freaking out.
Can we just talk about how lame President Obama looks these days? I mean, the veneer is gone. I mean, everyone gets the joke. You know what? You're realizing that he was as much of a Hollywood PR.
Putting it out on Twitter, trying to mock Trump, saying that now California is going to go try to find 5 seats by gerrymandering itself. It's such an odd thing that Democrats are doing. They're sitting there saying what Governor Abbott is doing is just immoral and wrong and so bad, and it destroys democracy, so we're going to go do it too. I mean, that's their statement.
Yeah. And we've always done it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And we've done it better than anybody. We invented new ways of doing it. And Gavin Newsom loves to talk about how they have an independent commission that draws the lines in California. Okay, so they've had this independent commission that draws the lines in California that gives you a state that has 40% Republicans and 17% House seats belong to Republicans. So if that's what your independent redistricting crew gets you, I'm starting to think it's maybe not all that independent. So maybe you can go, you can squeeze a few more seats out of there, but you go around the country to blue states everywhere, you're not going to squeeze any more seats out of Massachusetts. You know why? Because there are no seats to squeeze out of Massachusetts, and there are plenty of other states like that.
Listen, I think if I sit here objectively, and I wasn't so concerned about some of the legislation I want to see passed under President Trump. Say I sit here and I walk into this country and I'm not sure what my ideas are on politics. I would say, you know what? Why is gerrymandering even a thing? Like, why is that even allowed? And one of the solutions proposed this week is why not have AI create the districts? Why not have something objective? And the problem is there's no such thing as objective AI. Right. But if it were possible, in a fantasy world, could you create districts that were more based on where your communities are, where industries are, things that groups of people have in common rather than how you think they might vote?
You could go down this rabbit hole forever, and at the end of the day, the only solution is to have people who've been elected by people make these decisions. As you could say about democracy, redistricting by politicians is a terrible, terrible way to do it, but it's better than all the other ways.
That's not saying much.
No, but hey,
you left
part
us
of our system.
It's so little hope.
Yeah,
Good morning, America.
And on that note, we're going to turn to your headlines. Straight to a Fox spectacular headlines.
That's impressive because I'm afraid of heights.
Me too. I was just saying the same thing, Joey.
The only Matterhorn I'm summoning is we went to Disneyland.
Disney.
And that was just a few weeks ago.
So that's one of the things I love about Joey. He does not skimp on Disney.
No.
He loves Disney.
No, I
love
still,
Disney too.
I still hold out hope for them. If you ever go to the parks, the people there are mostly conservative.
I know.
Yeah.
Especially at Disney World.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, coming up, the shocking number.
The National Security Advisor, KT McFarland, thank you so much for joining us, KT. So first off, I just wanted to ask you, overall, what is your impression of how things went yesterday?
Not as well as President Trump wanted.
How the stage was set, because we talked a little bit about this. You know a lot more. The big red carpet, the tiny red carpet for Putin,
When he looked up and saw the B-2 bomber fly over. Well, KT,
thanks for joining us this morning. I think Dan Hoffman said yesterday, it looks more like a beginning than the end.
That's what I think.
And we'll probably have a lot
Exactly.
more mornings of analyzing what the meetings look like.
Thank you.
Thanks, KT. Always great having you on.
it's the 7 a.m. hour of Fox & Friends Weekend, starting with this. President Trump is back.
Good morning. So good to be here with both of you as well. We got shark stories for you.
We do. We have really been on the shark beat this whole summer.
Yeah. We're like the shark show.
Are you big on sharks, Charlie?
I love sharks.
You know, I went swimming with sharks one time, and I'll never do it again.
He has some shark stories to tell.
Yeah, I tell you.
I bet they're better than yours.
Things I tell kids when they ask.
You would fit
you
right
really?
in
Yeah.
to that scene in Jaws when they're below deck having dinner and they're talking about all the different injuries that they've had.
You know, the thing is,
you could really just...
Did you just hear that? He tells kids that.
As you should.
You know what I tell them most of the time is I go, I just took off running one day and I stopped and my legs kept going. And that makes them think and they kind of get distracted by it.
Oh, well.
All right, we better move on.
Well, let's not get distracted with all the peace that's potentially breaking out.
I know. There's a historic summit over Sikhism. Absolutely.
And China, which is the elephant in the room.
Exactly. And there is no perfect score here. There's no way for President Trump to bat 1,000. He's not trying to bat 1,000. He's trying to get on base. Right. He's trying to win the game. And what that looks like, you're going to give up some runs to do it. And that's as much of a sports analogy as I'll ever do. But with all of this are other aspects, like First Lady Melania Trump wrote a letter to President Putin that apparently President Trump handed to him personally about another issue, another side of this war that we really don't talk about a lot, which are upwards of 20,000 kids that are either orphans from the war or have actually been taken from people that are in Russia that are Ukrainian kids. And so it's really an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's a story, as you said, that a lot of people don't know about. A lot of people going, how much of it is true? It appears to be true. How expansive it is, we don't know. But the reports are that up to 20,000 children have been abducted. So there are stories of Ukrainian mothers, risking their lives trying to go and capture these kids, and also the ones who are aging out, like older ones in their teens. People fear are being conscripted into the war, into fighting. There's also concerns about that the places where they're being held are actually more like indoctrination camps. We don't know a lot.
The Taliban did that. So the Taliban created these things called madrasas. And when the Soviets left Afghanistan, they left a lot of orphans. And those orphans were rounded up, put into these orphanages that were indoctrination camps. So, I mean, it's amazing that we may be seeing something similar. I don't know.
Melania writing a letter saying, I would like some answer. And think about that
and think about the drama of the situation. Trump goes in to meet him, takes the letter out that his wife wrote, and hand delivers it to Vladimir Putin. Putin's going to read the letter, and that's going to carry extra weight. And from the very beginning of this, Trump has only talked about one thing, and that is the killing. He is so deeply moved by the unnecessary killing that goes on every single day in this war. And he's motivated by that. She's clearly motivated by the horrors attendant to all of this. And we can say everything we want to say about how terrible Vladimir Putin is, and he shouldn't have invaded, and all that is true. But you can't help but imagine that when you have somebody like President Trump, who is so clearly motivated about humanity and wanting to bring peace so people stop dying, that's a powerful argument.
Yeah, and before we move from that point, because we have another great story, the carnage is real. 7,000 boys a week. A week. This is a killing machine. It is a meat grinder, and we cannot allow this to happen. And the compassion from the First Lady and the continuous focus on human lives, even though they're not Americans, you keep saying that. They're not our boys and girls, but they're human beings.
And he so often refers to them as souls.
And the unique thing about this war, even from my war, is the reason why they're so moved by it is you can actually get a first-person view of it. With the drones and the amount of drones being used, you get a video game point of view of people begging for their lives, begging a drone not to kill them, and then a grenade drops from it, and you can watch it. You can go on YouTube. It's horrible. I don't know if it should be on there.
It's horrific to watch.
But you can go on there and just go down a rabbit hole of seeing it, and we're learning a lot. We're learning what war would look like for us. That could be us.
It's so dehumanizing.
The warfare of the future, and it's really scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. It's like a video game, and it's disgusting. And I'm so glad we have a president who cares enough to end this. Here's another top story this morning. President Trump making good on his promise to make D.C. safe again.
Around the wagon a little
And Democrats are opposed to all of this.
Yeah.
Right.
Ha, 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 ha.
Don't clear up our homeless camps. Don't keep the streets, free of crime. It's unbelievable.
And real quick, D.C., there was a Supreme Court decision in D.C. because they basically took the right for someone to obtain a carry license away. So D.C. is very much no-gun zone, anti-guns, okay. But when you looked at that list, one of the highest numbers were illegal gun offenders. And the real irony in the entire Democrat argument against guns is this idea that guns are inherently bad, all guns need to go away. But the other thing they do is they release gun offenders with no consequence and no punishment. So it's like, they really do put all the focus on the gun and not the person, so much so that people who have illegal guns don't go to jail for a long time to get those illegal guns off the street.
They arrest the guns.
Yes.
Well, meanwhile, the Trump administration's upcoming MAHA report with plans to improve kids' health was actually leaked yesterday afternoon, and it's giving us a first look into how the administration intends to tackle childhood disease crisis here in America. And I don't know who leaked it. It's all good stuff. I'm like, what's the big drama? I mean, I love all of it. Maybe Bobby leaked it. So one of the things that it does is identify the root cause drivers. I don't know if you guys know that children aged 5 years old to 12 years old, the increase so basically they're on antidepressants, and that between 2015 and 2021 has increased by 40%. antidepressants for 5 to 12-year-olds. Talk about not getting to the root causes and just medicalizing these kids. But it's also Ritalin, it's SSRIs.
Yes.
I mean, it is. We are creating a whole new generation of kids who are addicted to prescription drugs.
Charlie and I were having this conversation in the break before we came into this segment of my son I went through it, then my son went through it. We're sitting in class, 3rd, 4th grade, and the teacher's complaining because we're distracting to other kids. And my mom's reaction was, well, is he getting his work done? And their reaction was, yeah, he gets it done really fast, and that's why he's distracting other kids. And then her response was, well, that seems like a you problem, not a him problem.
Yeah.
And I went through the exact same thing 20-something years later with my son. He's, unfortunately for him, a carbon copy of me. And, of course, you know, it comes with a diagnosis of ADHD, but really what it is that if you've got 30 kids in there, they're learning at 30 different rates. And you got to be able to satisfy the energy and the desire of each of them, and we don't have a school system that does that.
It's also a gender thing. I mean, girls are able
Exactly.
to sit and,
Yes.
and do their work in a different way than boys, and boys just need more.
Yeah.
And the answer isn't to put them on Ritalin, which I saw kid after kid go from, I can't get this kid to shut up, to, are you alive? I mean, just almost drooling in a zombie state of mind. That can't be the answer, and that's what this report is saying.
And think about, and we talk about a lot about this, but think about what we were talking about a couple of years ago. What is a male and what is a female and LGBTQ. Think about all the idiotic, stupid, nonsensical things that we were forced to talk about for years. And now you have the Trump administration talking about how to make children healthier again and get them off of drugs.
By the way, there's been some naysayers, believe it or not, on these very common sense observations. And one of the things that, by the way, I don't need a PhD to come up with any of these, or
Right,
doctors.
exactly.
Or, you know, I don't need anything. These are very apparent.
Non-case studies on.
Yeah, exactly. But the complaint is that, you know, there's not enough scientific rigor behind this. Get this, from the people who didn't do studies to see what the impact of masking children were. In fact, it was Marty McCary, who's now at the FDA, who had to do that study because they refused to. They masked the kids without asking them. And by the way, depression increased because of the isolation they also caused. And then they gave us they forced everybody to take vaxes without long-term studies. So spare me the rigorous scientific studies, people. All right. You guys done with me complaining, ranting?
Love it. No, but we have a couple more hours.
Yeah, we have a couple more hours. Sorry about that. This is my favorite. Thank you. Now we're going to turn to some headlines. ICE detaining, and of course he is. Yeah. What do you think of the story, Charlie?
Spear fishermen are a different breed, and I have to say, I've always believed that that was like the #1 Darwin Award was spearfishing, but it is actually a lot of fun, and most of the sharks are kind of cool.
Most of the sharks are kind of cool.
Yeah.
If you ever see a toothless shark out in the ocean, that's the one that tried to bite my leg.
Well, it's an endorsement. You have to see to believe. The last person you would expect to see doesn't.
No,
She was on a Navy ship, and there was some hoopla around it. Remember, she was dancing, and she always wearing all that skimpy clothes, and then somebody was like, "Who approved this? Who allowed her to use this ship?" And the military sailors cheering her on. And it was a little bit of a.
I feel like that's something President Trump and Pete Hegseth would make happen, though.
I totally. But
like
back then it was a little controversial.
Commercial maybe with a fighter jet next time. I mean, I think that would be good for all involved.
I'm sorry.
I agreed.
Celine Dion?
Cher.
Oh, Cher.
You don't remember this one?
No, I don't remember it. Okay. But she was great in
Moonstruck.
The Mask?
Moonstruck. She was really great in Moonstruck.
Amazing,
Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we've hashed that out, from
And we
Cher
didn't even
to
talk
Sydney
about that
Sweeney.
massive diamond that I'm still.
It keeps
like,
getting bigger. When it was first reported, it was 30 carats. Now it's 50. I
She's
think by
going
the
to
end
need
of
a
next
shopping
week.
cart just to walk down the street.
She walks around like this.
I don't know what you do with
she's
something like that.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to have like back.
He had a lot of making up to do. He refused to marry her. He refused to marry her. and-
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. We'll talk about this in pop culture with
Yes.
Julie Banderas, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, President Trump is advancing the push.
The president goes into this saying if we can get a ceasefire, obviously that's different than ending the war, comes out of it saying a fast track to a full-on peace is the best path forward. Do you see that as a consolation prize? Like, we wanted the ceasefire, we couldn't get it? Or is that, hey, things went so well that maybe we'd just go straight to ending this altogether?
It's tough to say because it sounds like it should be easy, right? Putin starts a war, President Trump yet. And so President Trump is trying to get to a place where the three of them can, and that'll be the good picture at some point soon. Putin on the left, Zelensky on the right, Trump in the middle, talking about an end to the war. It seems like there's an understanding by everybody that this war is going to end, but for whatever reason, Putin is not ready to end it yet. And so President Trump is going to be with Zelensky in the Oval Office on Monday, and he is saying, he has telegraphed that if Putin did not stop the war right away, there's going to be severe economic punishment for Putin. So we'll see what's announced on Monday.
So, Peter, obviously, the president has said over and over again, talking about how many lives are killed, 7,000, young men a week. Sometimes not young men. They're conscripting in Ukraine, old guys, sometimes even people with Down syndrome. It's been brutal. Drone warfare, just absolutely a brutal warfare. And Trump is risking, some say, political capital in putting himself in the middle of this in order to get peace. This is what Sean Hannity asked him yesterday. Watch.
After that meeting, and Putin and President Trump came to the podiums and spoke to the press. It wasn't a press conference; it was more like a press lecture. But and I think that a lot of people were really confused by that, largely because I think that so many of you guys in the press are so used to getting more information than you can actually deal with out of President Trump. Do you have a sense or any idea about why the decision was made not to take any questions yesterday?
It was determined by all.
No, we don't know, and it's one of those things. They didn't put that it was going to be a joint schedule or a joint press conference on the official. He came all the way to Alaska. Putin came all the way to the U.S. and nothing happened right away, but they're getting there.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll get 5 minutes to sleep sometime in the next week.
Late night, early morning.
I'll sleep on the flight. It's a pretty long flight. We're on the top of the world right now.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
Great to see you. Thanks, you
Peter.
for your great reporting.
I know everybody's saying he's so annoyed, but he said it's going to take multiple meetings. And Zelensky wasn't there. You can't actually have a peace accord without the other side there. Zelensky's going to come to the White House, and then there's going to be another meeting, and the president saying, I'll be there. I'm going to be there for the long haul for this thing to happen. I just think the expectations were unrealistic, and I don't think those expectations were set by President Trump. Meanwhile...
But part of the magic of Trump is his impatience. And he's always impatient. Yeah. He always does want things to happen yesterday.
But he understands how deals are made, and it wasn't going to be made there in Alaska.
I think it's safe to say this visit by Zelensky will be much different.
Yeah.
Agreed. Now, we've been talking a lot about the Nobel Prize. I mean, literally for months, because President Trump he's not just working on winding down this war. There are multiple wars that he's already wound down using our economic power, using tariffs. And one of them is the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. And I saw this footage. It really touched my heart. These are
definitely spanning a spectrum of something there, aren't you?
Meanwhile, back here in New York City, Zohran Mamdani, a full-blown, honest-to-God, cold-blooded communist, has discovered that I understand why Jamie Dimon wants to have a call with Mamdani if he's going to be the next mayor. But I think it exposes exactly who Mamdani is, that he wants to have the call and jump into bed with Jamie Dimon.
And does play a role in all of our lives that seems to have these same ideas. And they'll probably cozy up to one another extremely well if he becomes mayor. My question back to you two is his youth potentially an opportunity? In other words, there's this saying, if you're under 30 and you're conservative, you're heartless. If you're over 30 and you're liberal, you're broke. Do you see any opportunity because I think he's going to win. I don't know everything about this city, but I think he's going to win, mainly because the other candidates aren't great.
Yeah, and the other candidates are splitting the votes.
Exactly. And so, do you see an opportunity where when you get everybody wants to be in charge, and then once you get in charge, the gravity of it hits you. Do you think there's an opportunity for him to scale back some of those outlandish ideas?
No, I think he will.
Meeting with people like this may be influencing him.
No, he's just trying to get money and connections.
But he's got to make
win.
them promises to get it, right? I mean,
Well, I don't think breaking promises is a big problem for
listen,
a lot of politicians
fair
in New York City.
Fair enough.
But my suspicion is he's going to win. I'm with you. He's going to win. And maybe it's exactly what New York City deserves.
And remember, more than anything else, this is his election, his nomination to the Democratic Party is a rejection of Democrats. It's not a rejection of anything else. It is a wholesale rejection in one of the bluest places in the country of Democrat policies. This is a rejection of Andrew Cuomo and all the stupid Democrat policies.
Corruption.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
No, I agree with that. I mean, there's damn good people in this city, especially over on Staten Island. So I don't want him to win, but chances are he will. All right, we're going to turn now to your headlines. Straight to a 5-year headline.
What is your favorite Bill Murray movie?
My favorite Bill is probably Scrooge, because he's so all over the place in that movie.
One of my favorite. What About Bob? Have you ever seen that one? No?
I don't know that I have.
It's so good. It's
Stripes.
So good.
That's a good one. Stripes is a good one.
If you haven't seen What About
Don't
Bob,
sleep on
that's a
Caddyshack.
great movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it all the way through. Yeah, it's not for any good reason. It's just something I need to do.
Maybe we'll get past this. I don't know.
I've seen parts of it.
All right. Well, critics say the Democrats are just... All right, it's time for another pop culture roundup. And joining me this morning is Fox News anchor and author of the new children's book, A Monumental Mistake, Julie Banderas. I don't think they can handle 2 Latinas on this show at one time. I don't think it's ever happened. Oh my gosh. Let's see how it goes. Okay, first roundup. Leonardo DiCaprio is insisting he is emotionally 32 years old after having faced years of criticism over his reputation of dating younger women. So what do you make of this? He's 50 years old. He only dates like women under 25. I guess the latest is 27.
Yeah, he is the exemplary midlife crisis dude, but everybody in Hollywood knows that this guy is a complete joke when it comes to his dating life. He only dates women literally half his age, 25 years old or younger, but this girl is actually the current girlfriend, 26 years old. Whoa. She's pushing 30, so I think he's about to ready to get settled down.
Yeah, he just moves them on. Don't you kind of feel bad for a man like this who's never had like a meaningful, mature relationship?
You can't
He's
date
so
a 25-year-old when you're 50. I did not become an adult until I was 25. And P.S., I have the maturity level of an 18-year-old, but that doesn't mean I go and date 18-year-olds.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, so weird. All right, Cristiano Ronaldo proposed with this, look at this diamond. Oh my gosh. It's a 50-carat ring. It's worth $3 million. So he was with this woman for a long time before he actually, proposed with this.
Yeah.
What do you make of this?
Well, okay, so they were together for 11 years, which makes me believe that he has commitment phobe issues. I'm just saying, and so that's going to make up for it. But I would say that's a hell of a push present for 2 kids, because she actually only pushed out 2. That's $15 million per child. Did you get a push present for your 12,000
I've never heard
children?
of that. That's the strangest thing to me. No.
You didn't get push presents? Sean, what the heck?
Have you not
even heard of that?
Do you know what? Judge Janine gave me a dress, a couple dresses of hers. Every time I've had a kid, she's given me a dress.
That's hysterical.
That's all I've ever gotten.
When I got
a used dress from Judge Janine.
Hold on a second. When I got engaged, I have a Judge Janine story. She threw me my engagement party, and she handed out fake plastic diamond rings to all of us, and that was the size of the fake diamond ring. Nobody should be wearing a $30 million 50-carat ring.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
She's obviously mad.
I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. Size matters, but nah, you don't have to go down there.
Okay. This bride is on the defense after she was criticized for passing out a singles sheet at her wedding in an attempt to find love. So she figured out who all the singles are at the wedding.
Yeah.
She got their pictures, she laminated them and passed them out so the singles could find each other at the wedding.
Okay, that's
I like
super
this.
sweet, but I don't love this. I mean, it's not Match.com. It's your freaking wedding. You're spending all this money. I think it's lovely that she wants to help out all the single ladies, but quite frankly, the bouquet toss, I think, is enough. I think that people need to sit
totally
down.
disagree
Be
with you
happy
on
for your
this.
friend. She's getting married. It ain't your day. It ain't your time.
No, this is great. Young people don't have enough social activities.
Right.
They're all there. Now the singles know each other.
No, I do agree.
I like it.
I do agree weddings are a great place to find something.
Of course.
I think it's the bride's job on her wedding day to do it. You don't have to be matchmaker.
That sounds like a nice lady.
Okay, she's
I like
a sweetheart.
her. She's a sweetheart. All right, there is an epidemic of softness taking over Gen Z. So the New York Times says that single men are wearing tote bags, carrying around Labubu's and other things as hallmarks remarks because they say it's a performative male thing to attract young women.
Yeah.
What do you think of this?
First of all, what the heck is a labubu? I didn't even know what that was. It's ridiculous.
Let me show you who has a labubu.
Stupid.
Let me show you a couple guys with labubus.
Okay, they call these performative males, okay? Those are my children. We'll get to that in a second.
Here, look at this is a labubu. These are just two.
Oh my God!
Two guys.
This is a
Just two guys hanging out with their labubus.
Oh my God! And Charlie, that doesn't surprise me there. Performative male means actually performing. So, like, be a real man. You know, go to work, earn a living. Have
Women
big eyebrows.
like
Charlie.
women.
That's a real man.
Women don't like beta men. They like manly men.
A matcha tea and a man purse. Not a good look.
Exactly. You know what is a good look to put in your tote bag?
Yes.
Is Julie Banderas' new children's book. It's called A Monumental Mistake. It's out now.
Yes.
Just love having
I love you so much. It's about respect. And
yes.
People need to teach their children respect.
I love that.
More and more. Because kids these days are not being taught that. And look at our society right now.
Back to manners. All right. Julie, we love you.
All right, love you.
All right, we're going to continue to follow Rick this morning on his All-American. You want, Jason? This stuff is incredible. And, you know, a lot of times people look at young people and they're like, oh, they're always complaining. They have a real, you know, it's really tough to launch in this environment. The average first-time home owner is like 38 years old.
38, and in 1991, that number was 28. So you're seeing like a huge difference. I think you to actually pay the home off based on the city you live in. If that number is less than 20, it actually makes sense to buy a home. More than 20, you should probably consider renting. So sometimes renting is not a bad alternative.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because I've always been taught the opposite. That, you know, why throw that money away to a landlord when you can be banking that money in a tangible asset?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a fact, but the reality is we just have low supply of homes. Last year in 2024, there were 1.1 million new home buyers. That's the lowest number since 1991. So, of course, you want to invest in a home, invest in equity, but there are other alternative ways that you can invest. And if the affordability becomes...
On the political side of things, which I know that's not what you're into necessarily, but you start to understand why young people are so deeply frustrated with the economy and why they look to alternatives maybe to the free market because the free market's not working for them. And those of us who do care a lot about politics need to be very aware of this problem because it is a very real problem and it needs to be addressed. Second thing we want to ask you about is it's getting also really way more expensive just to like hang out with friends these days.
It is, honestly.
It's expensive to have friends.
Yes.
Yeah, it's expensive to have friends.
That's why we don't have it.
Even if you're just paying your own way.
No, it is. And there's a ton of studies out there, too. So 60% of
A bar where you're buying expensive drinks, I mean, is that kind of part of it, too? Find other ways to...
I think it stems to our school system. So in general, we just weren't taught anything about money in our school system. Right. We weren't taught how to talk about it. Right. So now when it comes to dating and socializing and budgeting and buying homes, we aren't having the conversations that we have.
You know, just since it's becoming very expensive. But by the way, pro tip, guys, it's really romantic to just cook for the girl
That's
you want to
right.
date for at
That's
your
right.
house,
Go.
and a lot cheaper.
Jason Tartick, the
Thanks, Jason.
podcast is Trading Secrets.
Trading
Come back and see
Secrets.
us.
We talk all things money.
Great podcast.
We'll be right back. It's the 9 a.m. hour of Fox and Friends Weekend, starting with this. Ukrainian President Zelensky.
Right now, what was that? Looked like a bicep, but smaller.
Wow, that was extraordinary.
Oh, my goodness. Good morning, everybody. All right, it's 9 o'clock here in New York City. The show is just flying by. This is our last hour of Fox and Friends Weekend.
Yeah, what happened to that shot? It looked like we had a shot of something, and then it went away.
It was, I think it was Will Kane flexing for us. Is that what it
Flashing the camera.
We're half dressed.
I wonder if he gets the
I hope
same...
half dressed.
I wonder if he gets the same reaction. I don't know. You guys would know before me that that Pete used to get when he was tattoo-clad with the shirt off, getting ready to swim.
Well, they used to do this together. Yeah, they were always together doing this.
I know. So I wonder if Will
Does
will
Will
carry the
have
same
tats?
moment. I don't.
Is he
think so.
tatted at all?
Not like Pete. We just saw.
No, he's not. No. Will Kane's a
We
Boy
need to get to the
Scout,
bottom of that.
guys.
We need to ask him what, if any,
Listen,
tattoos
Charlotte,
he
we
has.
can't say a word. We're not out there shirtless in front
When's
of the
next
world
time? You're going to do that next year.
about to swim, so we can't say.
I'm sorry, what?
You're going to do the swim next year.
No, I'm a peacemaker, not a river swimmer. Okay, speaking of making peace, history in the making as
President in Alaska, and he joins us live from Anchorage. Peter, good morning. Really interesting, everything that's happening, the kind of emphasis that President Trump has put since the beginning on winding down wars, talking about the, just the cruelty, the brutality of these wars.
We'll never give him credit for anything he accomplishes. But when you go through 4 years of his first presidency and what he accomplished there, and then you juxtapose that to Biden, that's what brought so many more people to making it much more common knowledge. Say, man, President Trump was a pretty good president, even if I don't like him. And so is that what happens? Do you need something worse after him? Yeah, that shouldn't be that. So why do we need the Nobel Peace Prize? It seems like what he's doing is being recognized by the world. We just showed a picture of monks in either Thailand or Cambodia holding up his.
Of course. Yeah, he loves converts. Yeah, he does love converts.
And I guess that matters, the idea of you have to acknowledge.
Yeah, he loves converts more than maybe Jesus Christ likes converts. It's pretty amazing. But no, it is true. And the committee did give that award to Barack Obama, who, of course, gave us Ukraine, the Russian invasion of Ukraine 1.0. Back in 2014. And then, of course, there was a period where Russia did not display this aggression. And it wasn't until Joe Biden came into office. Joe Biden was vice president when Russia invaded Crimea and stole Crimea from Ukraine. So Donald Trump is yet again just cleaning up the messes of his predecessors. And that's the huge order that he has. And, Donald Trump is so smart about optics, and he's so smart, and he cares a lot about sort of the poetry of diplomacy. And I do hope that, I pray that he is able to strike a peace deal here. And I hope when they do, I hope they go back to Alaska to sign the accords, because you would have this wonderful situation where you would have the Russian president yet again coming to Alaska, a territory that we acquired from Russia, but also, being able to...
It was pure stupidity for Kamala Harris to go to that security conference and basically entice their video game type, totally dehumanized way. And so I'm really glad that Donald Trump is working on this. Somebody... Well, we have Cambodian Buddhist monks who want the Peace Prize for Donald Trump. I might have to start liking her again.
The funny thing about that is the way she worded it is she made sure to say, if he can do this to perfection, if he can, basically saying if Ukraine can be better than it was before the war, then I'll nominate him. And what that does is it really does set the stage to where if by chance, in their minds, President Trump actually does negotiate peace. Yeah. If there's any little thing, part of the Donbass stays with Russia or something, they still have something to hold on to stab, oh, but you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't get Russia to pay to rebuild all the cities, they're trying to put him in a no-win scenario. The fact is, the world and the American people don't buy it at all. It's completely inconceivable that at the end of this war, Russia loses, in a sense of loses everything it's taken and ends up in a worse spot. But that's not what we're looking for here. Zelensky, I don't think he cares as much. I don't know. I think that the true thing he wants is how do I make sure they don't do it again in 5 years? That's the linchpin of this whole thing.
You brought up the rebuild, which is really interesting. I was trying to think, what does Hillary really want here? Guess who's getting contracts to rebuild Ukraine? So maybe she wants the end of the war, so that then the Clinton Foundation, which is going to get a lot of these rebuild contracts, she makes money with the war, after the war.
Oh, the Cheneys might get in on that?
Yeah.
KBR or Halliburton.
Always so much corruption.
Hillary Clinton is a terrible politician, but she did learn one thing from her husband, and that is how to leave herself some outs.
Yeah.
When she doesn't want to have to pay pay out the bet. Laura Trump, we spoke to earlier in the show, and she made the point about how many wars this president has been involved in ending.
I'm looking forward to this conflict ending.
Absolutely.
And President Trump moving on to ending the Gaza-Israeli conflict, which is just as troublesome. Starvation, so much death, 60,000 people dead on the Palestinian side. It's really gruesome.
Hamas could fix that quick. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll throw the white flag, because that's what it's going to take. All right. Well, okay, so we have a new study that reveals roughly 9 in 10 college students fake their leftist views to please their professors. I'll go ahead and read this quote and we'll discuss it. So this 8% said yes. I was having this conversation a couple days ago. We had Justine Murray on. She's younger. She's a commentator on youth and college. And she said she had the exact same experience. Like pretty much every person I've talked to, you could probably talk to the majority of producers and interns in this building, and they'll say that, regardless of what their political views are.
If you have kids, you know that they have been under pressure.
It's crazy.
And they have had to make that choice. Do I want a good grade, or do I want to say what I really believe? And most of them say, I'm going to get the good grade, and they start to write that, which, of course, is the beginning of a very bad psychological experiment. Because if you keep saying things you don't believe, maybe eventually you end up believing it.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some long-term disadvantages of it, but the idea that you have all these propagandists in universities who, if you actually think you're winning over these kids, a lot of these kids are looking at you and they know you are totally full of it, and they're just telling you what they know they're playing you, and I just love that part of it.
Well, they're also getting ready for the corporate game, because let's not pretend like in corporations people aren't also forced to play the game. Listen, I think it's all really bad, and we've been talking about free speech on campus here in New York City, Columbia, and Harvard, but let's remember, there has been a complete takeover of the left on, professors are like 98% liberal and, 5% or, 2% conservative. So,
but if the fight is underground, just keep the fight going, kids. Maybe it's kind of like the Riley Gaines effect. Like I know Emily Sturge is with campus reform. She went through this. We have plenty of people on Riley Gaines on the gender issue. Maybe there just needs to be an empowerment movement, Turning Point, or campus reform, one of these organizations, to tell these kids, hey, you know what? You go and present your ideas, and when you get a bad grade, we've got a team of lawyers to sue over that.
Yeah, most kids just don't.
And your daughter's been.
I know, but it takes a very. My daughter did fight the system at University of Chicago in a big way, but it shouldn't be like that. We should have diversity of opinions and ideas at our universities. It's not much to ask for. It starts at the root.
You got to fight back somehow, though. It's insane. That blows my mind.
It made her stronger. Definitely. All right, we're going to turn now to your headlines. New video was leaked.
Got to buy a mobile home.
It's one answer, but we ought to just stop all these investment firms from buying up the homes and dropping down the supply so our young people can buy homes. What do you guys think about that?
I'll take it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So let's do a quick check-in with Will, who is live at Liberty State Park this morning. Will, you're not wearing a shirt. Will, you're not wearing a shirt.
Yeah, well, drink it in, Charlie, because it's a contractual stipulation that Fox and Friends weekend hosts do the New York City Navy SEAL swim, and this will be you next year. I have to tell you, the shorts get shorter every year, so don't forget leg day. But this is my fourth time to do the New York City.
Only the Navy would take such a righteous cause and turn it into a bunch of men half naked hanging out together. That's all I'm going to say.
And Rachel's going to start training.
I've been on your Instagram.
Yeah. So good.
No.
That's
never.
so good.
I keep a
so
tank
good.
top on.
You know what, Will? I feel like every young single woman in New York City, at least, should head down there. It looks like it's like fishing in a barrel over there.
You say it every year, Rachel, but I haven't seen you show up yet. I understand you're not single, but one of these years you as well have to show up right here. There's 350. You've got a lot of daughters.
I do. I do have a lot of daughters. I'm going to send them down there. The training starts for Charlie tomorrow. Thanks for that reminder.
Exactly right.
Okay. Well, you can donate or visit NavySealFoundation.org/donate, and we're going to be checking back with Will again. Thanks, Will.
Thanks, Will. Gotta have fun with it.
He got you on Instagram.
I know, yeah. All right, listen, more Fox and Friends next.
Rosenberg served as Deputy Independent Counsel for the Whitewater investigation, and he joins us now. So thank you for joining us. Explain to us as a lawyer, what kind of authority does the president have to take control of an emergency situation like this in D.C.?
He has 30 days, but he has to do certain things. He has to notify Congress.
He will do that, or that D.C. will do that, that they'll cooperate? Are these orders enforceable, or can they just stall? Like, we see that kind of stuff happening.
Well,
mayor to order to direct orders, but then it also says she has to list. She can't disregard what he says. So, is it a big change for this settlement from what they wanted to do to begin with?
Well, what it says now is that Cole is the attorney, the DEA, the head of... Thank you, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
That's all. Well, we're honoring our heroes across the Hudson with the Navy SEAL.
We're checking there to donate. Visit NavySealFoundation.org/donate. Thank you so much, Will. Still ahead, an Uber driver.
First on Fox, a frightening story out of Texas. An Uber driver who was an illegal immigrant was arrested for assaulting his female passenger after she fell asleep in the back seat.
BP Senior Officer Ron Botello. Tell us what you know about this.
Well, this is the risk that we all face on
these visa overstays. We talk so much about the border and it being open, but some would say that the visa overstay is an even bigger problem.
Well, we need to encourage people to use the CBP Home app if they're in the country illegally, and this person absolutely was. They overstayed their visa. They can go online, download the app, and ask for assistance to return home. That's the best thing that they can do. We also need to have jurisdictions cooperating with ICE, so when someone like this does land in jail, they get turned over to the authorities.
Are you finding that under the current administration that some of these localities are starting to realize that they actually do have to cooperate with federal authorities?
Yes, we've seen a number of mayors step forward and end the destructive sanctuary policies that exist across the country. And as you know, the border is in really good shape. So if you get sent out of the country, very difficult to come back. And if you do come back, you'll be prosecuted. So yes, we see people stepping forward, using the CBP Home app and self-deporting. Right. And we want these jurisdictions to cooperate more as well.
Seems like basic common sense. You don't have to have a PhD to figure this stuff out. Ron Botello, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and back.